Hey everybody, today I want to talk a little bit about Logic Pro, and I want to give this as an introduction to people who are guitarists who are interested in digital audio workstations and amp modeling and how to utilize these things to help improve your guitar playing. This is for people who've never, experienced anything like that before. So right now I've got Logic open and I'm running Focusrite, and it's got two inputs on it. So one of the inputs is running into this microphone, which is a condenser microphone, which I'm speaking through. And you can see that that's just here saying voiceover. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and I'm going to press plus, and I'm going to select audio because I want to make a new track. I'm going to do audio input 2 because that's the input that I have my guitar, my electric guitar plugged into. I'm going to go ahead and create that. Make sure my guitar is turned up. I'll do a little test. As you can see, my guitar is plugged in. And we've got signal routing into the device. This is one of the most important steps. It seems a little tedious that I'm talking about it, but if you don't prioritize your signal flow and understand how everything's working, it can be a pretty big technical headache in the beginning, and it's a barrier to entry for people who have no idea what they're doing. So make sure that your device is plugged into your computer, and then your input sources, meaning in this case my microphone and my electric guitar, are plugged into the device, which is then going to convert it into digital. So before we get started, let's go ahead and tune our instrument. I'm going to go here to this insert, and I'm going to select tuner. So you can find this under metering, and then under all the different various meterings there is a tuner. Select tuner, and then it's going to pull up a tuner on the screen. It's just like a tuner that you would have on your pedal board or a tuning device that you might have, or an app that you might use on your phone. Alright, now that our guitar's in tune, we can go ahead and dial in a tone. We have the world of amp modeling, which allows us to do stuff that we would have done in a recording studio environment back in the day, which required a lot of equipment. So you would have had to had multiple different types of guitar amplifiers, tube amplifiers, microphones, cabinets, and different isolation rooms in order to create some of the things that we're going to do today. I've got Audio 2 selected here. If I open up my library here, you can see that underneath I have a section here that's called electric guitar and bass. So within that, there are a bunch of presets that allow you to pull up designed amp tones. So I'm just going to pick one. Right away, you can see that there are tons and tons of different amplifiers for you to choose from. Pay attention here. When I select a different setting, it's going to change what's actually in the inserts. Yeah. So in this case, we've got noise gate, pedal board, amp, then there's an EQ and a compressor, and then there's some routing for some other effects as well. Here we have similar, but you can see that the effects are actually, the preset is already kind of dialed in for you. And the EQ is kind of dialed in as well. So that's, someone designed a very specific guitar tone by doing this. You can do this yourself too, and you can save it as presets. Let's go ahead and look at this one. All right, so this is called British Invasion. And you can see that it pulled it up here. Let's take it. So I've got here selected the British Invasion tone preset. And within that, you can see that we've got some different effects built in. And so I'm just pulling them all up so we can kind of take a look at them. So here we've got a compressor. Also, the order in which these go is going to make a difference as well. So the first thing is the noise gate. That noise gate is just kind of helping to eliminate any kind of sound, ground noise, or weird stuff that might be coming out of the guitar. So we're just going to keep that running and let it go. The next thing that we've got is the pedal board. So that's our pedal board here. So this is a virtual pedal board that we can change around, and I'll show you how to do that. Next, we're going to have our amplifier. So this is our amp simulator here. And then after that, we've got our channel EQ, which has already got a kind of preset EQ going. We're not going to mess with that for now. And then finally, our compressor on the way out to kind of, smooth everything out. Now, this is up to you. You can take the compressor off. You can, dial the compressor up more. You have all of those options. But purely in the guitar world, outside of anything to do with audio engineering, I want to imagine that we're just playing around with our amp and our pedal. This is something that every guitarist is familiar with. You don't have to have any background in recording whatsoever. First things first, we've got our guitar amp here, right? So let's say I want to play a bar chord and I want to clean it up a little bit. So I can dial back the gain, and maybe I'll put a little more reverb, and I'll kind of maybe adjust the treble and the mids around. I'm just using the mouse to make those adjustments. So I haven't altered my guitar's pickup configuration, volume knobs, nothing. I'm doing everything in the software. All right, so now I've kind of cleaned up that bar chord. But let's say I wanted it to be a little bit more distorted. So I could go in and I could boost the gain just like I would on my amplifier, maybe turn off the reverb, pull it down. And you can hear that speaker breakup happening right away. In this particular instance, we're also getting some mic emulation as well here. So you can see that the mic that we've chosen is a Ribbon 121. So this is a Ribbon microphone that's placed here, and that's a part of this particular guitar tone is using a Ribbon microphone. You don't have to use a Ribbon microphone. You can use any, there's lots of different microphones you can use. But this particular sound with this Vox amplifier and Ribbon mic combination is a special one that people recognize. So we add a little bit more gain. So let's say maybe we wanted to do some more simple chords, like some power chord kind of stuff. Maybe we want to take some of that treble out and make it a little bit more chunky. Let's say we wanted to use some of the onboard effects. Every different amplifier has different settings that are possible. So in this case, it's kind of, you can tell by the look of it that it's sort of emulating a Vox amplifier. For that, maybe we want to add some trem or vibrato into it. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up, right? I want to try to make this a little bit more sparkly. So I'm kind of adjusting my gain. I'm going to turn the reverb on just a smidge. And you see right away we're having fun kind of designing a sound and dialing in that tone. So you can hear that kind of vibrato happening. Right now it's set to free. So that free setting just has to do with the BPM sync of the individual project that we're working on. So here I just moved it down. If you look here in the background, it says 120. That just happens to be the BPMs that it sets to by default. You could change that around. Try 140. All right, so now that it's 140, if I set it to sync, now that tremolo, you see how it even adjusted? That tremolo is going to sync to whatever that tempo is. You can change the depth around to make it a little bit more dramatic. Let's turn this way, way down. So now it's at 74 BPM. Still set to sync. So we can hear that is really affecting the way that this sync function is working. Okay, so that's just our basic guitar amplifier. If we want to, we can switch the microphone around. Now we're using a condenser mic. We can even change the position of the microphone. See how it's sliding around? So this is actually going to change the sound around. So let's try it without the trem so you can hear a little bit cleaner. So you can see right away when I switch the microphones that it's going to change the tone. So right there you hear a lot more bass response. How that affected the EQ. Just the microphone placement itself kind of alters the tonality. So this is a great way of kind of practicing that in a virtual environment. So when you go into a studio, you're familiar with these ideas already, or it's a great way of creating these sounds through purely synthesized means that you can then blend into your recordings. You also have the option of, running your signal out into an actual amplifier afterwards and then miking that up once you've already recorded through reamping. Then that way you can sort of blend these digital sounds with analog sounds. You get the sound of air. So it's really useful. A lot of guitar purists, are kind of scoff at this idea, but I think it could be really advantageous for production, for songwriting, and for just creation. Okay, let's take a look at the pedal board now. All right, so this is our pedal board as it's set up. I'm going to turn the reverb down to make sure that there's no effects coming out of the guitar amp itself. Okay, so our amp setting is just this basic setting that's here. And then we're going to try and do everything on the pedal board now. In this preset, we have a specific design, which is the drive, the echo, and then this is like a rotary, like a sort of Leslie cabinet simulator, right? So let's go ahead and demo each one of these to see what they sound like. This is currently set to vintage and it's synced, right? So I can turn the sync on and off. And this just goes back to what we were talking about before, which is our BPM setting, right? Also change the intensity. You can also manually set our rate as well. This is just maxed out for pure sci-fi goofiness. So just like a regular pedal, you can tweak it, you can, do knob twiddling, and you can even capture this stuff in real time too if you use automation. Okay, let's take a look at the echo. So we've got it here. You can see that it has the option of syncing. Go ahead and turn it on. See the red light comes on just like on a pedal board. This is like your little stop switch. This is giving kind of like a little slap back. So that's a fun kind of like vintage guitar tone. I'm going to turn the tempo down here. See if we can kind of do like something with a lot of repeats. All right, so we've got tone cut set to low. We've got some good repeats going, and we've got our sync on. And you can hear it's kind of doing that filtering as it echoes out, right? We could also change the tone cut to filter out the highs. So you can see it's starting to get like more darker as it echoes away. Of course, you have the option of turning your mix down. Say, for example, you wanted to play something more continuous. So now that echoing thing that's happening in the background isn't so much in the front that it's covering up your, stuff that you're playing. So that's fun. You can do kind of dub stuff with it. I mean, you can really use echo for anything. All right, and then we've got a high drive here. This is basically like your treble booster. It's a pretty simple pedal, just kind of, turn it up or down. This is the kind of thing that you would want to maybe boost the gain on your amp to kind of have it work together. There's some reverb on there. Let me go ahead and pull up a different preset so we can see what something else might sound like. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go into the clean, and I'm going to select Amazing Tweed. It's got a nice clean sound. We have the option of adding in our onboard effects like reverb and so if you look over here, you can see that there's a wide variety of different effects. different kinds of distortions, and even gives you a little description about what they do. So for example, we can do a chorus. We can sync like we've done before. Increase the depth. Get that really, really chorusy thing going on. We've got our flanger. Increase the feedback on this. Put it to sync. Turn the feedback down, increase the depth. You can really get those kind of cool metallic flanging things going on. So this is a really fun way to kind of mess around with effects, especially if you don't have the money to buy all kinds of effects pedals. This is a good way to even learn about effects pedals. So you've got the Digitech whammy here. So you might be familiar with this if you've ever heard like Rage Against the Machine. Basically a pitch bender that you do with your foot. This is a fun octave pedal you can use. You can add some distortion in there as well, or overdrive. You can add a second octave as well. There's some fuzz on top of that. Here I've made a kind of ring modulator plus delay effect. We've got our Marshall amplifier, and we've got our pedal board pulled up. This is kind of like a new wave guitar tone. So we've got our heavenly chorus going. So to that we can add some reverb. Maybe you can increase the reverb a lot more. To get that real ambient cool vibe. Turn the reverb down, maybe turn our vintage drive on. Increase the drive on that. On top of that, we could even add in some delay. That's like a real fun sort of tape delay. We can turn the delay off, take the chorus off, get rid of the drive, and then maybe add in some auto. Change my pickup for once. This is the first time I'm changing my pickup. Okay, I'm gonna put it on the neck pickup. that's kind of the basics of how amp modeling works. Before we stop, I want to show you one last thing. Okay, so what we've got here is a guitar track that I've recorded. And what I did was I went ahead and routed those guitars through multiple buses. So let's hear the guitar track as it is. And then what I did was on that guitar channel, I added multiple buses here. You see where I'm clicking? And each one of those buses is actually a different amplifier. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the mixer down here so we can take a look at that. This is our guitar channel. This is what has our guitar performance recorded on it. Within that, we've got a bunch of amps being routed or reamped. So here's one amp, here's another, and I have those on bus 20, 21, 22, and 23. Each of those I can alter where they live in the stereo field, so I can kind of move them left and right and kind of make it sound like there's amplifiers in all directions, you know, to get that kind of like wall of sound or stacked amp sound. Within each individual amplifier, I can also go in and tweak the effects and change what I want each one to sound like. So let's take a look at all those. I've got a variety of different types of amps, and then also within those different amplifiers, I have a variety of different pedals as well. So now we're going to get a guitar sound that's a combination of multiple guitar amps at once instead of just one guitar amp. And so this is the kind of thing that would be potentially hard to do for somebody who doesn't have professional recording studio at home and doesn't have a ton of amplifiers, especially like cool vintage amplifiers that maybe you don't have access to. Here you can go ahead and access all of those kind of tones. You can play around with all of them simultaneously. And you can hear that I've got some different effects going on a couple of them as well, right? If we go down here, we can see in pedals, I've got flanger on one of them, and I've got chorus on the other one. So that's a really cool technique that you can use to kind of A-B. And the other cool thing about this is that it's not baked into the track. So let's say, for example, this guitar, I want to change it after the recording. I can go back in and I can like add more gain. Another thing you can do is you can go into the arranger here and then you can drop in your arrangement. So I've already done it, but basically what I've done here is I've allotted these first 4 bars as the verse and then the remainder as a chorus. And when I drop in my drummer track here, it's going to automatically create divisions and transitions between those sections. So it's a really good way to quickly mock up what your tone might sound like. Take a listen to what that sounds like. This is my idea for a song. This is kind of how the guitar goes. This is what I think the drums would be like. And it's a really good way to kind of demo out stuff really fast. It's a wonderful tool for songwriting and also a wonderful tool for practicing as well. And the way that I recorded this, I actually recorded the guitar first to the click track and then added the drums afterwards. So if you wanted to be even have a more organic feel, you could even put in the drummer track first if you kind of knew what your arrangement was, and then you could play the guitar against the drummer track. And then it makes it feel like it has more of a live feel. Then I went ahead and I added a little solo or a little some textural guitar on top of that as well, so we can hear what that sounds like. All these tools at your disposal to create awesome guitar sounds, to change sounds on the fly, to change sounds after the fact, to mess around with routing, to play with pedal boards and pedal effects that maybe you don't have, vintage amps that you don't have, microphones that you don't have. Then even after all of that, you even have the option of playing with arrangement, and adding in drums. All of this lives strictly within the kind of guitar world. We haven't even talked about adding software-based effects to it and adding electronic drums or electronic elements, synthesizers, MIDI. So there's a whole world that you can explore beyond that as well. So I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you next time.